Brand new book. Bernard Kerik is here, former New York City Police Commissioner and author of both fiction and nonfiction, including the new thriller titled The Grave Above the Grave. Isn't that an interesting title? The Grave Above the Grave. Bernard, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse.
It's an honor to have you on.
Thank you, sir. I listen to your show. I think you're phenomenal at what you do. I think more people should hear it. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. And I have a lot of respect for you, too, because in reading up on you and learning more about you, you grew up with a tough life, but yet you're not a wimp. How did that happen?
It's that is survival instinct, I guess. I was abandoned by my mother at 3 years old. She was beaten to death and murdered when I was 9. I dropped out of high school. I actually went to the infamous the Lean on Me High School, Eastside High in Patterson, New Jersey. I was one of those 25 little white kids running around the school at a time when it wasn't a learning institute.
Yeah.
I quit, but I got involved in the martial arts and I got involved in the U.S. military, and that's what sort of set me on the right path as far as respect and discipline and work ethic and things like that. And from there, my career took off.
That's amazing. I grew up not with as tough of a life, but we were taught how to overcome things rather than wimp into them and give up on life, And if you
That's
deal
right.
with situations in the proper way, situations make you stronger in life and not weaker.
You know what, Jesse? There's that cliche. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And up until certain parts of my life, I would say, yeah, that was a cliche. It's not really a cliche.
No.
You learn, you gain lessons in life, in a multitude of different arenas. But I've been through some real hardships, and going through those definitely made me stronger, made my family stronger, gave me the incentive to push forward and survive. And I think people should pay attention to that.
And I agree. Congratulations on your new book, The Grave Above the Grave. How did you? What does that title mean?
You know what, Jesse? The people, the element of enemy that I outlined in the book, which is the same enemy that attacked us on 9/11 17 years ago. That enemy basically wants us, if we don't believe in their God and worship their God the way they think we should, then they believe they have a right to kill us.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is they want everyone dead and in a grave, that doesn't think their way. And we learned that on September 11th. And in many times over the last 3 decades, I would say, dating back to 1983, right up until, Orlando and San Bernardino and Boston. So, it's things we have to deal with, but that's where the title came from.
Amazing. This is from Newsmax. Your book reveals how to stop the next major terrorist attack. Will we?
You know what? People ask me constantly, as the police commissioner on September 11th and had to deal with the attack itself and the aftermath, I got some pretty good insight as to what the enemy, how they planned, what they did. I also worked in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for 4 years, and I worked for the King of Jordan for almost 5 years. During that time, I've learned the mindset of this enemy. So what I try to do in the book is outline a number of attacks, a number of events, fictional, but these are things in my mind that I'm concerned with. When people ask me, you think we could suffer another 9/11, 4 planes flying into massive buildings? No, I don't. But you know what? Tomorrow afternoon, if 5 teams of 2 shooters walked into 5 elementary schools in 5 different cities at the same time on the same day and mass murdered a number of innocent children, I promise you, that would be what Osama Bin Ladin used to call a spectacular attack. And that's the stuff we have to prevent. So I outline things in my book to give the reader a better understanding of what we should be doing to stop it.
The thing that concerns me is the FBI and law enforcement have missed tips before, like the one we saw at the Parkland, Florida school shooters. It seemed as though somehow or another law enforcement have relaxed or they're restricted from functioning, so they seem to be a little lenient than they normally would be.
You know what, Jesse? I think some comes from something slipping through the cracks.
Yes.
But a lot of times today, listen, in the aftermath of Ferguson, in the last 8 or 9 years, law enforcement has been bashed and crucified, and you have a lot of cops and a lot of federal agents out there that, they cower to this politically correct atmosphere, and that hurts us. They have a job to do. For the most part, 99% of them go out and do that job. And honestly, look, in areas like L.A., New York City, Chicago, other urban cities in the country, these men and women go out and do a job that most people wouldn't have the courage to do anytime. So you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But we cannot, and this goes back to your point, we cannot miss these telltale signs of problems. And, our intelligence capabilities have to be better than they've ever been, because that's going to be the success of fighting this enemy. Local, state, federal authorities communicating, working together. They're not doing that. We lose. That's
right. I call the president the Great White Hope, and as a New Yorker and a police expert, how do you feel about President Trump?
Well, listen, this may be a biased answer because I've known him 20 years. I have an enormous amount of respect for him. I lived in New York City. I worked in New York City, and he was an icon in the building real estate industry.
Yes.
But the one thing I can tell you about Donald Trump is that when he says he's going to do something, when he says he wants to get something done, nobody's going to get in his way. And you can tell that based on his politics today.
Yes.
He doesn't have politics, really. Everybody else has politics. He's just on a mission to get the job done. And for me, as somebody that's lived through the things I have two primary concerns for my children and theirs.
Yeah.
One is that our economic structure in this country is the best it could be. And two, our national security. You have black-on-black crime in Chicago that is rampant, worse than any other city in the country. How are we not dealing with that? Why is Rahm Emanuel not called the president and asked for federal backup? Things like that. That's the stuff. Keeping our city safe, keeping our community safe, keeping terrorists out of this country. We've seen what happens when the wrong people are allowed to come into this country. You know what? I don't want no more of that. I pay taxes. I pay for my daughter's college. My daughter just went off to college her first year. I'm paying for that. But I don't want to pay for anybody else's.
That's right.
I want to pay for my own.
Yeah. Amazing. I read somewhere that you have a 33-year-old son who is a cop, I believe in New Jersey. Is that right?
My son is a detective in Newark, New Jersey. He's been on their SWAT team for about 9 years. He's been on the job 13 years.
Amazing.
And he's assigned to the FBI Joint Terrorist Task Force in the Newark FBI Field Division. So I have to live all of this stuff that I've lived through in my life. I now live vicariously through him because he's going. I think he's a step ahead of me at the age he is now, but. I live with it on a daily basis.
Amazing. Well, we'll keep him in our prayers. So we have a minute or two left. Tell the folks how to get your brand new book, The Grave Above the Grave.
Yeah, listen, you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of your local bookstores. I think it's a great read. I think it's educational. And so far, look, we've gotten great reviews, Brad Thor, Sylvester Stallone, and a number of others. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Amazing. One last thing. I read from Breitbart that you called Colin Kaepernick a thug and disgusting.
Well, listen,
And I agree, by the way.
here's my thinking. You know, a lot of people are focused on just his kneeling at the national anthem, you know, at the games. He wears and has worn these socks on his feet when he goes to practice, when he used to go to practice, pig socks,
Yeah.
and they were replicating police officers. Those are the same images that I recall back in the 70s and 80s when the BLA, the Black Liberation Army, was mass murdering, assassinating New York City, LA, and San Francisco. And I think it's despicable.
It is. Bernard, congratulations. I enjoyed talking to you. I hope we get a chance to speak again soon.
Jesse, thank you. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you when I get out to LA.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.